Up here!
Dewey, here. You got Roman and Angelina too. We'll be safe if we stick together, won't we?
Of course, why?
You suck.
Hello and welcome to where, if it's not clear enough, I'm going to be talking about the worst movie ever. This is a new series I'm making where I try to find the worst movie ever.
Own dead will be used to make them accept our existence and believe in that fact.
And I thought, with a new Scream movie out, what better movie to do than Scream 3? Which is the worst out of the Scream films. But first, a little bit of history. I love the first Scream. It is a classic. It is amazing. It is great. It is better than amazing. The sequel is okay. Third one, bad. Going to talk about it soon. Fourth one, it's decent. Better than the second one. There, I said it. Maybe a controversial opinion. And in terms of what I'm thinking about the fifth one, they shouldn't have made it. Seems kind of pointless, but maybe it's great. Who knows? We're not here to talk about that one. We're here to talk about the third one. And of course, there might be a copyright issue, because there's always fucking copyright issues because it's fucking YouTube. But if there is, you'll see still images instead of video. I'll clean it all up. Don't worry about it. Let's just do this. Let's just dissect this motherfucker, alright? Let's dissect it. So first things first, we get our classic opening Scream scene, where we see Ghostface kill a victim. First movie, it was so amazing, so well done. It was satirical. It was like an analogy for the rest of the film. Perfect short film for what would come later. Second movie, things get bigger, not necessarily better, but bigger and cooler. You see Ghostface masks everywhere. It's exciting, it's wild, it's so meta, in your face. Jada Pinkett Smith is awesome. So again, it ups the ante. It's great. So now there's this expectation. What are they going to do for the third one? Third one, this guy gets killed. Guy from the second one. Who cares? The guy was kind of a weirdo creep anyway, and it just like doesn't up the bar at all. And you might be wondering, how do you up the bar from 3? And they did it in 4.
You can see everything coming.
In the most amazing fucking way ever. And so, right off the bat, super disappointed by that. So the movie proper begins with Gale and Dewey, who are split up again, because this is a Scream movie. That's how these things start. And Dewey is now dating the actress who plays Gale in the Stab movies, which are, of course, the movies within the movies. Because of a recent series of murders that have been going on around the movie production, she has a bodyguard played by Joe Swanson.
Hey, everything okay in there? I heard shouting.
Dog, answer it. Tell him yes, everything's fine.
Yes, Joe, everything's fine. Oh, okay, good.
Say, I bet you can't get a boner.
I bet you can't get a boner. That's not very nice, Brian.
Neither is your mother's ass.
Neither is your mother's ass. Well, I'll give you that one.
Now tell him you've always thought he was handsome.
I've always thought you were handsome. Well, I gotta tell you, Brian, I'm relieved to hear you say that.
Tell him, ha 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 ha, just kidding about the handsome thing.
Oh, come on.
Do it!
Come on, that meant a lot to him.
Angry!
Queer.
Queer?
So right off the bat, big thing, Kevin Williamson, the guy who wrote the first one, second one, not involved in this one, because every single script he touched during this period of time got greenlit. So he was a bit busy, he didn't touch it. All I say is you can tell, it just doesn't feel the same. Like, immediately the tone just feels off. Something just feels wrong here. One of the biggest problems of this movie is how repetitive it is. The fact that Gale and Dewey, after the last 2 movies, are not together feels so dumb. We already went through them meeting up, their romance, and then their trials and tribulations in 2. So they're just going through the same beats again. It feels so lazy. Another fun fact, this movie is written by a guy named Aaron Kruger, and of course this is directed by Wes Craven. So if you don't know why that's funny, then I'm not gonna lie, the plot is pretty fucking boring. A lot of shit happens, and for some fucking reason, reading this note causes this to happen to this guy. That's right. No more expertly planned, intricate kills in this series. Now there's just a fucking explosion. I feel like I am watching the Fonzie jump the shark from the water. This feels so off. What is this? This isn't a fucking Scream movie. This a fucking explosion? What? You can really feel that they're just kind of running out of steam. Everyone in this film feels a bit tired. They're not really giving it their all. It just kind of feels like they're running on fumes. You know, like, who gives a shit? Doing what the fuck they want, you know? It's funny because the cinematography and the directing is still great and whatever, but it doesn't matter if the people just don't care. And they just don't care. A big part of this movie is the fact that the horror has been taken out and the satirical element has been put up into the forefront. Where in the other movies, it was meant to be kind of more of a background thing, and the horror was the main deal of it. That's because shit happened in real life, and people say Scream movies were responsible for them, so now they don't want to have any responsibility on that, so they want to take out any little bit. But by doing that, you take out any charm the series might have had, because the series wasn't necessarily a horror comedy. Yes, there was comedic moments. Yes, it was very meta. But at the core of the movies, they were still horror films, and they still felt like they took place in the real world, while this film feels like it's a cartoon.
Oh, bro, it's that TV news shit, Connie fucking Chung. Hey, Connie, how's Maury?
Another fun fact, Sidney Prescott, the main lead of the other two movies, had to film a TV show while this film was in production, and so they only had her for 20 days, which meant she's barely fucking in this movie, and when she is in this movie, she's isolated from the rest of the cast. That's why I'm not really talking about her too much. A scene she is in is the scene with Randy. Now, the Randy fan favorite from the other two movies. And number 2, they decide we're going to kill him off. Good moment for that film, but left. The other films inevitably are going to feel a bit hollow with his absence. He was the main connection to that meta-ness I was talking about, where he would always talk about like the rules of the horror films. And so for this movie, they just decide there's just a scene where his sister, who has never been in any of these fucking movies.
Sorry, Martha. Oh my God.
Who the fuck are you? Huh? Who the fuck are you?
Shows up and literally plays a tape where he talks about the rules of the third film.
Because you are not dealing with a sequel. You are dealing with the concluding chapter of a trilogy.
In the first movie, they talk about the rules of the horror movie genre. Second movie, talk about the rules of a sequel. And in this movie, he talks about the rules of the third movie. But those rules are so vague, and it's shit that doesn't happen. He doesn't even give examples of other movies. It's so weird. This whole scene sucks.
So if it is a trilogy you are dealing with, here are some super trilogy rules. 1, you got a killer who's going to be superhuman. Stabbing him won't work. Shooting him won't work. Basically, in the third one, you got to cryogenically freeze his head, decapitate him, or blow him up.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
And then we get this scene with Carrie Fisher for some reason.
It's uncanny.
I was up for Princess Leia. I was this close. So who gets it? The one who sleeps with George Lucas.
What the fuck is this? What is this, though? This isn't a horror movie anymore. This is a spoof. This feels like it was directed by Mel Brooks. This doesn't make any sense. What is this doing here?
Video marketing. Yes. Instant cassettes. They're out in stores before the movie is finished.
Here it is, sir. Spaceballs.
Okay, so long story short, killer is this movie director named this guy, and he's Sidney Prescott's long lost brother, because they said that in the Randy scene, and now we'll let him explain the motivation.
Maybe you just can't get past the surface of things.
Who the hell are you?
The other half of you. I searched for a mother, too. An actress named Rena Reynolds. Tried to find her my whole life forever. 4 years ago, I actually open arms, but she had a new life and a new name. Maureen Prescott. You were the only child.
Seems Maureen can't find someone to frame me out.
You
Sly dog! You got me monologuing!
So they all live happily ever after with a detective who is so worthless in the plot I didn't even bring him up. The end, I guess. Now, overall thoughts. This movie is not without any merits. I did like aspects of where they took the Sidney Prescott character, and like I said before, the directing and the cinematography is still top notch, even when everyone else doesn't care about the film. So, big question, where does it rank in my worst horror movies ever? Well, right now it is first place, but it's also last place because it's the first movie I'm doing. So that's just how it works. Alright, bye guys. See you next video. Hey, would you like to be a Patreon? Look at all these names. Actually, they're empty right now because I just made it. But there could be names here, and you could be one of those names. Also, a couple of other perks. Link in the description to my Patreon. You could do that. Wouldn't that be awesome? Do that.